Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, for entertainment, and when we give you guys the first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got one kind of show for you guys that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi, handle CTABANZ. Also, make sure you follow Dreamerspro, the channel, on Instagram, same name as the channel. And also make sure you check out the Dreamerspro podcast that we have pinned in the comments section. So let me get into this topic here. So what happened? This morning, like I always do, when I wake up, and it's a very bad habit, there's some people that say it's wrong. I wake up and the first thing I do is I jump on my phone. And usually I sleep with my phone on pilot because I don't want to be disturbed or anything like that. So when I wake up, that's when news starts coming in. So I jump on Instagram and I'm scrolling through. And I'm catching up on what's being said and all of that because I follow a lot of sports companies and media personalities and things like this. And one of those people that I follow is Shannon Sharpe. Right? I follow Shannon Sharpe. Obviously, Shannon Sharpe is a pretty big deal. So I'm scrolling through and I see an image of Shannon Sharpe smiling like he always does, and it had a caption. And in the caption, not in the caption, in the picture, it was actually showing what Shannon Sharpe had posted on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to show it to you guys now. It says, "Your favorite uncle slides into Stephen A. Smith's chair and hosts Friday's First Take. It's my very first time being lead dog. Thanks, Stephen A. and First Take, for believing in me and giving me this opportunity. Tune in and watch your boy do what I do." And on the post on Instagram, it says, "We've got Shannon Sharpe on First Take on Friday." And when I saw that, I was like, wow, wait, what? Shannon Sharpe? Shannon freaking Sharpe is going to be hosting ESPN First Take. And I was like, this is a very big move. But then I started thinking to myself, I said, but wait a minute. This is something we saw coming. If you guys remember, after we found out Shannon Sharpe was going to be joining on this ESPN First Take, and he made his debut and all of that, there were some rumors and rumblings out there that were kind of suggesting that Shannon Sharpe could potentially one day replace Stephen A. Smith on ESPN First Take. And Stephen A. Smith actually posted something on his Twitter about a month or so ago, kind of alluding to that, where he added or tagged Shannon Sharpe. And at the time, it seemed very, very conspicuous. And we were like, okay, well, this doesn't really mean anything. So for me to wake up this morning and to see this post, I was like, wait a minute. This thing could actually happen. And the reason it could actually happen is because of the ratings. Let me tell y'all, right now, ESPN First Take is absolutely demolishing the competition. And I got a lot of information that I got from a front office sports article that I definitely want to get into. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by a brand new sponsor, Factor Meals. If you're like me or anybody that works at Dreamerspro, chances are you're a very, very busy person, especially during the lunchtime when you don't have time to go to the grocery store, pick out fresh ingredients, and come back home and cook healthy, delicious meals. Sometimes we're so busy that you just end up finding yourself making a ham sandwich or something like that, which isn't really ideal. And this is the reason why we are excited to be partnering with Factor Meals. Factor Meals is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. You can choose from up to 35 gourmet meals. Every meal is packed with premium ingredients, crafted by Factor Meals' team of culinary experts and designed by dietitians to ensure that every meal is packed with premium science-backed nutritional quality. Your meals are delivered directly to your door, and all you need to do is heat them up in just under 2 minutes. Then they are ready for you to eat and enjoy. So for example, this week, I think I'm gonna go with the Italian herb chicken. What I love is that under every single meal, you can see if it's a calorie conscious option. For example, this meal I just chose is the dietitian approved calorie smart meal, which is around 550 calories or less per serving, and also a protein plus meal with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So if you want to give it a try, click the link in the description below or head over to factormeals.com/dreamers50 and use code dreamers50 to get 50% off. And remember, when you try Factor Meals by using the link in the description below, remember that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Let me get into the main article here. So it says, Sharpe's impact propels First Take soaring viewership in just 6 weeks. And then the article continues on. Stephen A. Smith's recruitment of Shannon Sharpe to ESPN is shaping to be one of the biggest sports media talent coups in years. After being courted by Smith, Sharpe joined First Take on a part-time basis on September 4th. But in only 6 weeks on the air, the Pro Football Hall of Famer has already co-starred in 3 of 4 of the most watched First Take episodes this year, said sources. Monday's top-rated First Take edition with Smith and Sharpe and Molly Karam drew 852,000 viewers. That's behind only the 892 viewers who tuned in on First Take the morning after Damar Hamlin on the field heart attack in January 2nd, and nearly 5 times the 172,000 viewers for Skip Bayless's Undisputed on Monday. Despite a rusty Sharpe inadvertently calling Smith Skip, his First Take debut on September 4th averaged 727,000 viewers. And his Tuesday morning appearance after Aaron Rodgers' season-ending injury on Monday Night Football pulled in 726,000 viewers. According to sources, several factors are at play here as the NFL enters Week 6. First, ESPN's First Take and Get Up morning shows have become the de facto agenda setters for the week's football storyline. Sharpe's timing was perfect as he joined ESPN at the kickoff of the NFL's 2023 regular season. Second, Smith plays the chief Dallas Cowboys hater role while rival Bayless waves the pom-poms for America's teams. So many viewers enjoy tuning in to watch Smith's reaction after Cowboys win or lose, but especially after a brutal loss, the Cowboys 42-10 dismantling by San Francisco's 49ers on Sunday. Decked out in a black cowboy and adopting a broad Texas accent, Southern Stephen A. Smith taunted miserable Cowboy fans on Monday's show. These appearances are comparable to a Saturday Night Live skit. First Take is the place to be because evidently the Big D is not the place to go, Smith cackled. Former ESPNer Dan Le Batard clashed with Smith over the years, but even he's impressed by First Take pulling nearly 900,000 viewers this week. That is a monster number. When all numbers are declining, that is a giant number to have stationary in daytime. It represents twice as much as what that show has always done at its best, noted Le Batard on his Wednesday show. Smith and Sharpe have traveled via private jet to Deion Sanders' Colorado football games with their bromance in full swing. They've also appeared on each other's independent podcasts. Their chemistry positions Sharpe as Smith's heir apparent should Smith leave First Take for late night TV, entertainment, or politics. So that's what the article had to say there. So here are my thoughts on this. Guys, we got to admit it right now. Even though Stephen A. Smith can annoy people at times, especially myself, but when it comes to this media game in terms of maximizing the opportunity that he has at ESPN, no one is doing it better than him on television. And the numbers say so. The numbers absolutely say so. That is why, to this day, I am still amazed that people at FS1 thought it would be a clever move to let Shannon Sharpe walk out that door. That is turning into an absolutely disastrous move. That's number one. Number two, if you pay attention to what that article had to say at the very end about Shannon Sharpe potentially being Stephen A. Smith's replacement in the future, I think there's some truth to that. And I think that's the reason that they're testing that. Another thing worth paying attention to is this. We're now beginning to understand whether or not Shannon Sharpe has other talents. Because apparently Shannon Sharpe is an incredibly talented person. He absolutely is. And he has a lot of things that you can't manufacture. You can't act funny. You either are or not. And Shannon Sharpe has that. He has a magnetic personality. He has a big voice. He has a presence to himself. He's passionate. And I think these are things that people clearly are gravitating towards. Clearly. Now, Stephen A. Smith also has his pluses, but I think Stephen A. Smith is getting to the point in his career where he wants to do something new. And I can understand that you've been doing something for decades and you want to test your chops to something else, right? And he's been showing that on his podcast by tackling different issues. He's talked about politics. He's talked about entertainment. And you can see he's trying to broaden his scope. And I think that's a fantastic thing because maybe he's trying to, move on to do bigger and better things. So I think it could work for him. And in the case of Shannon Sharpe, it works for him as well because now he steps into a new role. But I think what ESPN is realizing is that Shannon is able to bring in the numbers. That is the most important thing. He is definitely bringing in the numbers. And to see Shannon Sharpe on Friday's show by himself, you better believe is not a coincidence. They're not doing that for the sake of doing that. They're doing that possibly to see if they could replace Stephen A. Smith with him, or potentially looking at giving him his own show. Because what I think ESPN understands right now is that this guy moves the needle. I mean, listen to the viewership numbers. He's bringing in, on average, about 300,000 to 400,000 viewers every time he's on the show. And what's even more interesting is this. Whenever he's not on the show, meaning whenever he's not there on Mondays and Tuesdays, you see a sharp decline in viewership. A sharp decline. So by Stephen A. Smith publicly recruiting Shannon Sharpe, apart from trying to throw him a lifeline, it was the obvious thing to do. Who in their right mind, running a business like ESPN, would not go after shit? Like, who in their right mind will let this guy just sit out there? And I think that Shannon doesn't really understand the gravity of his position in the sports media landscape, because he was he was showing a lot of gratitude to Stephen A. Smith and all of that. But bro, don't forget, you that dude. The numbers say so. To see such a sharp spike in viewership rate numbers, you got to look at, okay, what's the variable? What's the thing that changed? And the only thing we can point to is your presence on the show. So to me, this is great news. I hope Shannon gets his own gig. Obviously, is going to change things. And this is what happens sometimes, man. You can have a roadmap for what you want to achieve maybe in the next year or two, and then things start happening, and all of a sudden you need to rework your plans. Why? Because new opportunities come up. And it looks like Shannon Sharpe is someone that ensures that he is ready for whatever opportunity comes his way. And he also seems like someone that is stepping into his greatness by going after all of these things. So I love it. And I commend him for that. If you go to my Instagram, CTABANZ, you check it out today. Check out my Instagram. You notice I posted on my story hours ago before we did this live. So it's not like I'm up here twerking it up for you guys. I genuinely am happy for the dude. So I think it's a great move, a shrewd move by ESPN. And I think he could potentially replace Stephen A. Smith. And this is the second time both of these gentlemen are alluding to this being a possibility. So to me, I cannot wait to see how this thing evolves moving forward. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. Number one, do you think there's a possibility that Shannon Sharpe could get his own show and possibly replace Stephen A. Smith on ESPN First Take? And number two, do you think if ultimately he gets his own show, he'll be able to pull it off and do a great job? Or do you think that, I don't really believe in him? Let me see. I need a little bit more time to come to a conclusion about that. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments when we catch you on the next show. Peace.